Guys, Carb from Time Machine Transport. So, doing a video on these ATVs. I call them the murder machines. So I'm running mine. I'm going to run it. I got about maybe a little over a gallon of gas in there. But I went over to the Yamaha dealership because of my wife's. So I replaced the starter, put a new battery, and still didn't start. So then I put, must be like an ignition switch or something, put it in there. It's located right here, and it started up, but it was running real rough. I did a video a while back when we did our Faraday cage, which is now taken apart because I needed everything in it. So anyways, I noticed when I was doing the video, I had the ATVs in there, and I noticed I was leaking fuel. And I'm like, why am I leaking fuel on hers? So I didn't know it was going into the battery box, or the air cleaner box, the air box. And, little plug. So, anyways, that's a half-ass plug. We had bought both of these for $2,100 2 years back. I don't know, four or 5 years ago maybe. And then I cambied them up. Mine's a 88 Honda ETS or ETX or something. It's like a racing one, 300. And then hers is a Yamaha. The guy told me it was a 92 Raptor. But when I went over to the Yamaha dealership, he said the parts gal said they didn't make the Raptor in the 90s. So I don't know what kind this is. I just know it's a Yamaha. But hers was like a white and like a blue. So I cambied them up. Didn't turn out too bad. We welded the racks on there so we can carry fuel or food or whatever on there. Anyways, so I noticed there was a bunch of fuel in there, and there was fuel spitting out of here as well. So I went over to Yamaha. I called Yamaha first, and the guy said you might have to rebuild your carbs. He said, but before you do that, he said, try this stuff. It was like $9 something a bottle. And he said, you can't overdose on this, I guess. So I just dumped the whole fucking bottle in there with a gallon of gas. He said, you got to let it run all the way through. Problem with mine is mine's a kickstart. Hers is an electric start. But it was hard, so I had to use starting fluid to get it started. And it's really rough starting. So the guy said he has some kind of bulb or something, or bladder or something in the carburetor maybe or something. He said, but before you do that, run this stuff through here. He said, I've had a lot of success with it. He said, I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but that's your cheapest and easiest way to clean that carburetor. If it doesn't, then you're going to have to take it apart and clean the jets or whatever. I looked up on some channels. It doesn't seem too difficult to do. This is the one I wrecked. I actually tipped this thing over, and I caught a divot in the dirt before that building was up. There was a big open lot, and I caught a divot and flipped this fucker on me. And I was in the hospital for like 6 days, five or 6 days. With they thought it was internal bleeding, but I was pretty fucked up. So, anyways, so. I was a little skittish getting back on this thing after it happened, but another thing I got to do on this is tighten the chain, which I'll do a video on it. I believe this chain, I don't know if that's enough slack, but there's a measurement you can do. I think it's 1 3/8 is the proper. You put a tape measure on there, measure, and then drop it, I think, or something like that, and it's got to be 1 3/8. I think that slack right there. I think that might be too much. There's an easy way to adjust the chain, which I found out. Anyways, back to hers. So I checked the oil, and it was really thinned out. It smelled like gas really bad. So I bought some oil and some filters for both machines. I'm going to change mine as soon as I'm done running that stuff through there. I'll let it cool down. They say when you're changing your oil on ATVs, you should let it run for a few minutes, heat up the oil, and then to drain it. I guess it drains easier, obviously. But not everybody said that, so I will do another video, or I'll just pause it and it'll be the same video on how to change the oil. Seems pretty easy. So I checked, like I said, I checked her oil on the dipstick right there, and it was super thin and it smelled like gas. So I have to drop the oil first, and then I'll put it, I think it's like 2.5 quarts, I think, or something like that. Then I'm gonna fill it up or top it off with oil after I dump it. And then I'm gonna dump that stuff in there. I'm gonna dump a whole bottle in her tank and let it cycle through. And the reason why I'm doing that is I can't run this machine for that long with that thin of oil. And I don't even know if she would stay running. But it's not good, so I guess the gas is washing out the cylinder or going through the cylinder or the piston or whatever. So, sorry, I got a chew in my mouth. So, and I already changed the fuel filter. I already did that. So I'm gonna, the guy said it's coming from the carburetor. So once I change the oil, I'll dump a bottle in there. I'll start her up and let her idle all the way through the gallon of gas. So I'll put you on pause and I'll show you what we're gonna do. All right, guys, I'm back. So it's 19 millimeter for the oil plug, and the O-ring looks good. I'm gonna pull this O-ring and just wipe it down and reuse it. So this actually goes in like so to trap any debris that's in the motor, obviously. Now underneath there's a skid plate. Right there. And so look at how thin this oil is. You can see the fuel in it. I mean, it shit's like water. It smells so bad of gas. I don't know how long it was doing that. We hadn't run the bike in a long time, but like I said, when I put it away into the Faraday cage, it was leaking, and I didn't know where it was coming from. So that is not good for your equipment. So I don't know where the heck that came from. But yeah, so that's it. Now I'm going to go ahead. I'm not going to change the oil filter. I'll show you the part number once I pull it. I'm pretty sure it's the part number. These older machines are really hard to find parts for, I guess. So, but a guy said that the oil filters haven't really changed on the machines, like late 80s, early 90s, up to like 2000 or late 90s. They haven't changed, so I'm pretty sure these are the right ones. That's what they told me. So once I pull the oil filter, which will be I think it's right here. Hey, brother Jason, you're calling me. I'll call you back. I think that's the oil filter right there. I'll wipe that down, but I'm pretty sure that's where the oil filter is. I gotta put this thing back up underneath here. Dripping the oil. So I'll let it come out 100%, and then I will, like I said, I'm not changing the filter right now because I'm gonna get, the reason why I'm doing this is I can't run the bike, obviously, with that thin of oil. I'll fuck the motor up, I'm sure. But they say these older ATVs are built like tanks, but I don't think they're built that well. So that's why I'm topping it off with fresh oil, so then I can run that blue stuff, or not the blue stuff, but maybe it's blue, or is it just the bottle that's blue? I think it's just the bottle that's blue. This Startron. So I'm gonna dump the whole bottle in there. And the guy said you can't overdo it. You can't overdose on it. So I'm just gonna cut to the chase. Mine already seems like it's idling better, believe it or not. So I'm gonna put the plug back in, top it off with fresh oil, put that stuff in there, get the bike started, let it filter through that whole gallon, and then I'm gonna have to change the oil again, because if the problem is that sticky thing in the carburetor, or whatever it's called, membrane or diaphragm, I don't know what it's called, I'm not a mechanic. So like I said, I don't want to run it through with this it'd mess up the motor. I mean, who knows how long it's been like this, and we haven't really rode these things for a while. So anyways, that's the thing. I'm going to go ahead, top off the oil, dump the stuff in there, let it idle until the whole gallon of fuel is out. So that's pretty much it. And on mine, it's going to be the same thing. You're going to have where the oil filter is. Yeah, that's got to be where the oil filter is on it. So, anyways, that's pretty much it. So I'll change my oil on this after she's done idling. And you want to prime your oil filter. Just grab a plastic Ziploc bag, dump a little oil in there, and drop the filter in there. And just kind of mush it around with your hands for, let it sit for a minute or two, pull it out, and then put it in. So, I mean, I assume you should prime your oil filter, I would imagine. So, anyways, I think that's it. I'll do a video part 2 once this thing is up and running. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Ciao.